Folks, hello. We are live. Welcome to the Random Party Generator. It's a small party. Maybe we'll pick up a few party members en route. By the way, I'm about to belch. Oh my God. I'm talking to these guys for the last 15 minutes, no belch in me, and now I'm ready to let one blaring out. It's right in here.
It's called
Um,
a mute button. Eric.
yeah, no, but
Good call.
it's more fun not to try to suppress it. Folks, stage right, left, I don't know. Next to me is Rob Conley, Mr. Bat in the Attic. And below Rob, uh, what did it go? Adamantium, Mithril,
Platinum, dude. I'm
Platinum.
not. I'm not adamantine.
Congratulations.
I don't know how these levels go. Once you
If you
get
get more than 1,000 sales, you get platinum.
Yeah,
wow. So that's it's Chubby Funster, Mr. Shadow Sun.
indeed.
Pretty exciting. Of course, that's the day that the OBS affiliate system didn't work for my account. Just strangely enough, the day that you have your probably all time high in sales,
Yeah.
and I did an article on the blog side. I didn't sell one copy, one of anything.
Wow, that's
That's it.
interesting.
Very, I'm not saying I would have made mega bucks, but I could have bought I don't know, a 2 liter bottle of Coke and some donuts. I mean, I could have.
Well, I got one for you then, Eric.
What's up?
I am at 20 copies away from reaching platinum on Black March. Just post an affiliate link to that.
Oh
Get
shit!
those 20 get those 20 print copies for me.
There you go. Well, actually, your affiliate, you got to drop your affiliate link in a private chat, and then I can copy it over. Or you want me to put up an affiliate link? I'm confused.
You can take the affiliate. I don't
Oh,
care.
all right. And with folks,
I'll make my money one way or the other.
there you go.
I don't need to be greedy. You take the affiliate commission.
Well, I got to say, I do like the new interface with OBS. I hated it at first, but if you are somebody who does use affiliate links, they've made it gosh darn simple. You don't have to go through 3 pages to get it. Oh, of course, when I get to the page, it tells me you own this title, and there's I don't know, a D20. All right, I'm exaggerating. A D12 worth of downloads available. You're very complete, Rob. I gotta say, folks, you get your money's worth. And by the way, the PDF is free. So if you're not getting your money's worth, you got a problem. But
And as they say in the business, the print copy is competitively priced.
yes, Rob.
Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. I can do a show and where is it? Yep, right here. So this is what the print copy, nice hardback.
It's not going to stop a bullet, but it might stop an arrow from a child's bow and arrow set.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's not it's not like the Blight where Bill Webb took I believe a 44 to it and didn't quite penetrate through all the pages, which tells you your book is too damn big, if you ask me. But it's maybe we should have cut something else out of this thing. Maybe. Oh my God, it's been a hell of a weekend. It's been a hell of a week because I've been doing a hell of a lot of live streams, and the 2 prior live streams this week were different. On Wednesday, we had Jared from World of Game Design, who has been, I guess, internet famous on Facebook due to the number of people who had bad interactions with him and his company. And he was there to explain himself, essentially. He invited himself, inquired if he could be on the show, and we're like, yeah. Greg, in the past I would blame it on your cat, but what
Oh, it's my son is digging through Legos.
Oh,
That's what it is.
well, you know what the thing
Let
is,
me adjust
my
my
son
gain.
is 31, and he's probably doing the same thing tonight. it's probably true. It's his damn hobby. But yeah, so Wednesday was an interesting live stream, and then we had Ken Whitman on last night on the live stream, and we had a number of people accuse us of platforming Ken, giving him an opportunity to be heard, and we believe it was more of an opportunity to certainly have folks see the real Ken Whitman. I think he really did show himself. And I think that was worth it because he will certainly be making an attempt to come back, folks. I can guarantee you. By the way, he did try to apologize to me, and I told him where he could shove his apology. Thank you, Mark. Yes, we took a couple of guys to task this week. Uh, the Jared stuff was, was what it was. My son is annoying. Rach, can you text my son and tell him he's annoying? Sorry. He tried calling Rach and then he tries calling me. Because apparently.
Well, I'll go by the dog
and tell him he's annoying? Okay.
Yeah, I'll do it over video.
Okay. You can tell him over as opposed to my video. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to you think your family's well trained. And I'm not saying they're like pets, but you think your family is well trained and then they break out of their day crate and start causing havoc. But yeah, no.
Well, speaking of family,
yes.
Let me get this.
Bum, bum.
Yeah, we had a new addition
to the Conley household.
Yeah.
Cat or a dog?
No, that's not it. Hold on, that's it.
All right, so hold on.
Do you see the picture of the cats, right?
Yeah, hold on.
Okay.
Oh, you got an orange one and are they both orange or one gray?
No, they're both orange. The one is a little bigger in the background. He's been with us a while, and his name is Orange. But the one in the front is named Tater Tot.
Oh, nice.
Yep. My son's girlfriend, grandfather had a bunch of kittens, and Kellyanne was going ooh and ah, and I said, "Fine, let's get one." And yippee! And she picked out him, and he is what we call in the business a zoomer.
Oh yeah.
I have an open plan for my downstairs, and he just loves nothing more than just to run from one end to the other. And we have a cat scratching post that's about 4 feet high, bolted to our entrance archway. So that's his destination. He'll run up all the way up there, drop down, run to the other end. But yeah, he's great.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wish I could have cats, but they just kill me. I had one for a long time, and then when I moved out of that, it was when I got divorced. I moved out of that house. I could breathe like so much better. I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize how much it was killing me.
Yeah, our cat kind of chose us. She's like, she was a stray, but she was a stray that was somebody's stray because we found her. She was, literally ribs showing, and then we fed her as an outdoor cat for a couple of months, and then when our prior cat passed away, this one walked herself in the door the next day, like, "Hey, I understand there's an opening. Do you mind if I come in?" So like, "All righty then. You've made your decision. Thank you very much." Mark, yes, Ken seems like a classic flim flam man. Actually, years ago, I wrote a class. If you search the tavern, 10 Cars Tavern blog for oh God, what James Bond's science fiction game. Why am I pulling a blank? Holy crap. Okay. Oh, White Star. Jesus. If you search for White Star on my blog, you will see a class that is classic Ken Whitman. He inspired the class. I thought it was a pretty good take on it. But yes, Ken. I told him his issues yesterday, but when it comes down to it, is he's not repentant. He's apologizing and he's making whatever amends, but the man can't emboss pencils after nearly a decade. When he has the pencils and he has the embosser and can get the shit done and make people whole, he's not looking to do anything of any kind of actual import to make anybody whole.
Well, it sounds to me like it's like a guy who says he's done. He's an alcoholic. He has problems with drinking. He's working on it, but he's going to the bar next weekend. He hopes to see you at the bar next
Yeah,
weekend. It's like, well, I don't know. It just, if you are repentant about what you did, you'd be avoiding the situation in the future,
right,
not
right.
setting yourself up for another run in the future.
Yeah, kind of like reminds me of one of the guys I used to know at my old pub, whose doctor told him he had to stop drinking beer, so he switched to Guinness on the idea that it wasn't beer. And I'm like, dude, I know you're Malaysian, but Malaysians are smart, and you're not. I'm like, it's not beer, it's Guinness. I'm like,
Wow,
okay, and
this
don't think.
guy, he rolled a 3 intelligence.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the
It's
class,
unfortunate, but it happens.
but it's not beer, it's Guinness. Like, no, that doesn't quite work that way. No, like no, and your doc was talking about your blood sugar too. Guinness is not going to help. Trust me on this one. Zwiki, howdy. So yeah, it's been a busy week. I gotta say, and which reminds me, and I guess I owe a public apology to Tim Cass. I'm supposed to be doing something with Tim, and Tim's little project that I've been supposedly working on. I haven't been working on because other more prioritized issues have popped up, but I'll be getting to Tim's project tomorrow. I know it sounded very conspiratory, but it is. Um, yes, Bob, we dug out of the Ken Whitman manure dump. Uh, by the way, for somebody that has no money, that was a beautiful room he was in, with a cat tree that could have fit like 7 cats on it. By the way,
That's like when there's TikTok videos of the woman saying she's destitute and she needs money to feed her kids, and she's got $200 French nails on her fingers. It's like, what? You're not making the best choices.
no, it's like there's an issue with that, right? It's like choose like a dark room to do to be a background, not a room that's twice as large as my living room. With a huge cat tree. Everybody, I was getting PMs. Do you see that cat tree in the back on the right? I'm like, yeah, I don't see any cats. Yeah, but I mean, like, how can a quote homeless person or nearly homeless have that? I was like, that's a good question, but
And it must be awesome to have spies in your employ who are constantly observing. Oh, look at that! Look at that!
well, I
And
mean,
I don't have those people. I have to just take life as it comes.
you 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 dirty man. No, you're right. You got a great job. And Ken, listen, honestly, when Ken was doing these Kickstarters, his circle of friends was much larger. And at the time, his circle of friends included what I would call, I don't know, 3 or 4 regular taverners, people that would proverbially drop a dime and let me know what was going on. So my information was always current, and my information was always inside. And then Ken did a friend purge and purged like 90% of his actual Facebook friends, and then many of my sources dried up. It's usually the best way to catch people is just get rid of them all. Get rid of them all. So, but yeah, no,
It's
it
always a
was
good sign that you're on the right path in life when you have to purge your friends in
yeah. When you
order
got to
to.
when you got to purge your friends, when you got to make a comeback tour, and a little inside baseball, Ken reached out to me over a year ago, sent me an email, wanted to come on Talking Crit with Bad Mike and myself, and gave me his cell phone number so I should text him. And Mike and I discussed it, and we're like, nah, ain't happening. Um, very, Now this time he reached out to Don, and Don was like, and same day, by the way, that Jared reached out to me. So I was just like, why is everybody coming to us for redemption or clarification or the cleansing? But I guess you have to have a legitimate channel or legitimate people around you for that to work. So I said a lot about the people that watch this show and the quality of this channel. If people are coming here to get their biblical cleansing, I don't know. I don't know. I find it interesting. So
Ble-
go ahead, Greg.
Bless them, for they have sinned. You must purge. You must clear them.
Well, I it's weird times. I had done a post on Facebook basically, saying that we're pretty much talking about friendship because it's been a stressful time for everybody, and we're all friends. It doesn't matter in the end what religion, creed, whatever. We're all friends. And I got attacked for saying that if we are already friends, we can still remain friends. I got attacked by people who didn't feel that way. So I was like, all right.
I thought it was hilarious. I'm in a Dark Sun Facebook group, and Dark Sun, you would think, would be the hardest core of the D&D Facebook groups. You know what I mean? Like it should be whatever. No fear. But they made some post about how if you're having bad feelings about the election, you can talk about it here. I'm like,
Let's
why?
not talk about politics,
Yeah,
okay?
like
Can
why is
we?
that? I'm not talking about it, Rob.
Why are you talking about the election? I'd rather
I was
not
not
discuss
talking
it.
No,
about.
I'm not talking about the election. I'm saying
Hold on a
they
minute.
were making posts for people to talk about the election, even in the Dark Sun group. And I'm saying, Rob, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I mean that's the
Yeah,
whole that's
why?
the whole thing. I think at times like this, we should find the ties that bind us. We shouldn't find additional reasons to divide us. It's bad enough we divide ourselves in a gaming community based upon the games that we play or the edition wars and what we consider to be bad, wrong, fun. Taking aspects from outside of our hobby to divide people further, I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. Like the Dark Sun group is not the place to talk about your feelings about politics. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. Like it's nuts. I don't know why they have like that ancient Dungeons and
Well,
Dragons group that's on Facebook that makes politics all this stuff. It just
doesn't
intentionally
belong.
limits the number of people who want to interact with you.
It,
It's
it
crazy.
doesn't belong in gaming. That's the reason why I owe a lot of credit. I mean, listen, Frank has told me flat out he bears me no goodwill, and that's certainly his choice. But Frank Metzner is the one when we were still talking, who really pushed for the tavern to be a neutral ground that would be as free from politics and social issues as I can make it. Because as he put it, he goes, you need a place where games can be talked about and people can leave their baggage behind. All right, and it's an illusion, and it's lying to yourself to say that you have no baggage, and it's also an illusion to say, well, I'm allowed to have my baggage, but you can't bring yours in. No, everybody leaves it behind. Now I know there's some communities that encourage people to bring all their baggage with them and shared at the table like it's ring dings and Gatorade at the game table. But it's not. We want to talk games, and I think that's important. And I got to say, what was useful about the last couple of weeks is I've been able to prune from all sides, and I don't unfriend people, but I unfollow people that or were obsessed with world events going on because I'm on Facebook to discuss gaming. I don't discuss anything other than gaming, and I don't need the rest of the noise and the garbage getting into my feed. So, if folks, if you haven't tried unfollowing, it's a very good tool if you want to curate your Facebook feed to something that's a bit more manageable. And I've been happy to do that. No, Bob, they're not going to bring the. I will lose their baggage like the airlines if they bring it to me. All right. Well, yeah, I can see that, but for most people, I think it's carry on. They carry it with them, um, and my Facebook feed has been surprisingly quiet the last couple of days, so I've been very happy with that. But and I don't really do much on X or Twitter, so kind of keep.
I found X very useful for
Well,
conversation.
if people are if you avoid the noise that surrounds everything on X, it is. And I've seen that your gaming posts get a lot of interaction, Greg. I gotta say, you've really found the secret because a lot of people interact with your gaming posts, and on X, that's occasionally a rarity, man. That's not something that's very.
I I I don't I don't necessarily like this in particular, but it works. Is that making a declarative, definitive statement of in one way or the other, rather than a wishy-washy, nuanced post?
Right.
Coming out and saying, orcs are evil. Here's why they're evil. Blah blah. Rather than they could be in your world if you like it, do this or whatever. If you had no caveats, then it'll drive up people's responses because they'll come in and they go, well, what about blah 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 blah, and it's like, you know, are you obligated to make social media posts that cover every eventuality? I mean, it's nuts. But yeah, I don't I don't believe nobody should ever play with orcs being anything but evil. But traditionally they are evil. Like that kind of thing.
Right.
It's I mean, hell, I made them a playable character choice in Ambition and Avarice. I think there's a role for that, but if we're talking about Lord of the Rings, then yeah, they're evil. If you're playing in that particular mythos, they're
Right.
evil. So coming down hard in one way, I think is really useful. It try because people from both, and then people start arguing with each other in your comments, and that drives up
That's right.
conversations as well.
Rob, Bob wants to know how your book sales are going because he saw you at ChinaCon. Good enough.
What did it? Oh, book sales.
Yep.
Well, I'm after all the Kickstarter, my drive-through sales are okay, but they're in the long tail phase right now. But the con, it did well. It didn't cover all my costs, but it did better than I expected, especially for the size of the con. So I appreciate everybody who purchased a copy of one of my books at the con, and those who even purchased Kellyanne's hair stick. She made a little bit of money too as well.
Yeah, Rach is enjoying hers.
Well, that's nice.
She was very happy with it. St. Cuthbert, Rob would love to share a bourbon at WizardCon 2025.
Well, I'll have a Coke with you, but I'll be glad to share a drink with you.
I
don't drink bourbon or any alcohol for that matter. Sorry.
You can pass the bourbon over to me there, St. Cuthbert.
Okay.
I'll gladly take. I had it. By the way, at the end of I don't want to call it an interview. It wasn't an interrogation, but whatever it was, when we had Ken on yesterday, I had to make sure I had this bottle next to me because I had to take a swig just to clear my palate after the uh, the BS that was being thrown our way for just over an hour. I mean, it was what could be politely called a shit show, only because there was that much bullshit being thrown around, and like a good bullshit artist, Ken likes to keep kernels of corn in his shit and the little bits of truth in his stories. So it was suffice to say, it's something I had to cleanse myself of at the end. Cuthbert, I'm already on deck. Awesome. I do appreciate it. That's, by the way, what I was just showing is a nice small batch bourbon. Uh, it's I on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it like a 6.5, 7 straight, but over a little ice and let it cool and just get a little bit of that water in it. It becomes like a 9, 9.5, very smooth, no bite, got a very nice taste. I am not, by the way, a whiskey connoisseur or a sommelier of wine. I just know what I like, and this is a tasty one, so it works. Now, all three of us, yeah, Craig, no, Craig, yeah, Craig, you were in on Tuesday night's game. The game where we all threw Joe a curveball because he assumed we would take something on head on. But when have we ever?
I don't know where he gets these assumptions.
Well, I can tell you,
He's constantly he's like I put out 120 knolls. Why didn't you guys just attack them directly? I'm like, because we're not stupid, Joe. Like, like why does he assume that we're gonna just charge headlong into the enemy?
I can tell you why. Because he's so used to playing with his brother, who is used to going in
That's possible. Yeah.
head on. And that's not the reason why we've been playing this game successfully for a year and a half with minimal deaths, no TPKs, is because we do play it like a
Just the occasional players. Sorry to interrupt, but just the occasional player's stupidity.
But Rob, it was you, so you were in character. Okay, it might have been stupidity, but it was in character stupidity, and therefore it was a death that we can talk about probably for years. That's worth it.
I think the criticism from other players is that from a metagame perspective, you should have known better.
Right, but
I don't think anybody would say your character would have known that the Naiad was going to kill. Like,
yeah.
It's like somebody made a post on X recently. Oh God, I just called it X for the first time. They just made a post recently about how like it's metagame knowledge to know that you need fire to kill a troll, but everybody knows that, and that's there's nothing to avoid there. Like we all knew the Naiad's kiss was fucking dangerous. We were like, stop, back away. But like your character wouldn't have known that necessarily. Right. I mean,
no, I knew there was a risk that I would get hurt. But I didn't think it was gonna. It's a goddamn saving throw versus death, and it was at a minus too. So I'm not blaming him. It's my own damn fault.
But I gotta say,
no, I do miss playing Argyle. I mean, I think the group needed an outright fighter, but
that's why we have Greg's team of charmed creatures.
Yeah, but Greg's not there every week, so
no, that
what
that
the
is
fucking
true.
good is that going to do to
us? But I
Sorry,
do
Greg.
think that we have become a very well-oiled machine that we figure to the point where Joe has to go, oh shit, that makes way too much. Oh wait, hold on a second. I gotta make up a house rule because this is gonna get dangerous if I allow it. Because we're not breaking the rules, but we see how our various characters and their abilities can really build off each other. And
Yeah, like I don't think he anticipated the whole flooding out the
no, I was
dredge
thinking about
at all. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing, and that's because the three people on screen plus the rest of the gamers in our group, we all are DM, GMs, designers at heart. So we always tend to think out of the box. We don't, and that's what a lot of the. I'm gonna throw the chum in the water. It's a lot about the 5e players often fail to see, and I only say this because I've run 2 games of Swords and Wizardry for 5e players at conventions. One for 5e players that were looking for an old school game, and one for 5e players that were expecting 5e and their GM never showed up, and I brought Swords and Wizardry Light. And it took the group a while to get away from the die will decide everything. And I don't need to explain, and I don't need to think outside of the box. I'm not saying 5e players aren't capable of it. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. But old school gaming, the the fact that there aren't rules that covers everything forces you to explore those metaphysical surroundings of your character and push that envelope. And I think we do a really good job of that. I almost feel
Yeah,
sorry.
I wanted to address is it Titus
Yes.
comment about why would anyone charge that many enemy combatants? You know, we we came up with solutions that he totally didn't see coming.
Yep.
So like my character has Joe. One of Joe's house rules is that you can have a signature spell at each level. So one of my signature spells is um, Sanctuary, and the,
And in
the
case you don't know, folks, the signature spell that he's talking about, you have to find it on page 15 of his
Yeah.
20-page
yeah,
house rules.
yeah. So I can basically convert any first level spell slot into Sanctuary at will, like the way you can do with healing in
Right.
third edition and so on and later. So I I I had that ready to go, and he wasn't expect. So I would walk out into the like draw the enemy away at me. At, turn Sanctuary on, they would all fail their saving throws, and then forget that I was standing there, and they'd just be wandering around in the woods. And then everybody would pick them up, and then I would be running away from them, and then I would drop a darkness, I would drop a fog, I'd move out of the way. Meanwhile, Eric is like having a huge illusion of a dragon fly overhead, and Rob's doing call lightning, and these guys are just getting hit from
I
five
gotta
different
say, Call
directions.
Lightning is a very underwhelming spell.
It has been sometimes, but now we can both cast it.
Right. It's
So we
situational
yeah.
specific.
Yeah, we're gonna rock it out. Yeah, next time we got dual lightning bolts coming down out of the sky and killing everybody. But yeah, like Joe was not prepared for innovative use of spells like create water,
Yep.
sanctuary,
Oh, that stone thing I had?
stone
Remember?
shape. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, we used that to seal a dungeon entrance, and then we used create water to fill it up. So even if they chip through,
Yeah, and I think he hates that I can cast continual darkness on a rock and throw it. Although I did hear in one of Alexander Macree's either on I think it was actually one of his videos, not an interview of him,
Right.
where he was talking about he had some players who figured out that they could cast spells on one pebble out of like 15 pebbles and then throw them all over the floor and they would scatter and the enemy wouldn't have any idea which rock was the one creating the effect. And I was like,
Oh.
oh my God, that's brilliant. I'm totally going to use that against Joe.
You know, I mean, again, that's the thing, right? Like, we all think out of the box. To be an effective GM, you always try to be a step or two ahead of your players. But when your players are always a step or two ahead of the GM because they're also GMs, it changes the dynamic. And there are times where I will admit, when I've seen what Joe has us up against, my initial reaction is, "Oh, we're fucked, man. I'm gonna have to like get ready to roll another character because there's no way we're gonna survive this." And then, lo and behold, we figure out a game plan in about 5 minutes, and then it's like before the session's over, they're on the run, they're dead, they're charmed, they're blinded, they're spooked because my character is a gnomish priest, but I get access to illusionist spells, and I get some bonus spells that are illusionist spells. So it's a very powerful combination. So I don't mind not being. I usually play clerics that like participate in combat. My guy will, but the reality is, it's the last thing he wants to do because he's more powerful just throwing out the spells.
Yep, this is the first time I've ever played Rope-a-Dope Cleric, where I go and I create a whole bunch of things, and all the enemies are coming at me, and then poof, I disappear.
Yeah.
I invisibility myself, I sanctuary myself, whatever, and then everything goes back, and then I hit them from behind, and they turn around, and then poof, I disappear again. I'm like just messing with them, and Joe doesn't know. He's like never anticipating what we're gonna drop, and then it's like neither would those orcs or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're able to pull off some amazing stuff. I can't believe we defended that Druid Grove with as few casualties as we
Yeah.
did. That was amazing. Like, throwing darkness at the right spot, and the guys were trying to move around the edges of the circle, and Rob turned into a tree. All kinds of great stuff.
I think Ruffin says good DMs play as players that don't vocalize or act in a way that would be metagaming. At most, they would announce that because of X, I'm going to roll a die to decide my action. Yeah, but the thing is too, like we'll argue game rules and we'll argue against ourselves at times. It's like because or against our party's best benefit because like I don't know if we're interpreting that rule right.
I know I pissed Rob off by agreeing with Joe against Rob a couple times. Rob was trying to scrounge for something, and I was like, I don't know that
It
it
happens.
worked that way.
Yeah, but the thing is, we're all scroungers by definition and by character because a GM is always scrounging, right? You're always trying, especially when the encounter goes bad. It's like within my parameters that I have here, what can I properly do? Because you got the cards that you dealt, and you want to make the best of your cards. So you'll scrounge. But I couldn't believe it when I looked at my character sheet. It's Roll20, and I saw that we've been playing since like April 2023. And I was like, really? I didn't realize we were gaming for over a year and a half.
Yeah.
And Joe's
Well, don't forget, Eric. While I don't keep detailed notes, I do log the date of all my online sessions that I attend. And yeah, the first time I played Joe's campaign was Wednesday. Well, that was a solo game. So the first time we played it, I guess we were on Sunday for a while, April 2nd.
Yeah, it's about right. Yep.
Yeah, that's when we played with Joe's brother, and then the great breakup occurred on Tuesday, July 11th, when we decided we weren't compatible.
Right, and I think I explained it why earlier. Joe's brother is a bit more head on in what he wants to do, which is fine. We are not necessarily hands off, but we're looking for the synergy. All right, before we even go into combat, but now it's like, all right, am I going to cast improved invisibility on Tim's magic user thief? It's like we're already trying to figure out how all these pieces are going to work best for the situation that we're in. Um, and Joe's brother was a bit more take the shit on, you know, hands first, face first. That's
Well, I mean, let's stick with the actual example. I mean, like there was a basically like a hill fort or a hill keep essentially, and he wanted to just charge it
yeah,
direct, and we were like, "No way,
What?
we're gonna plan, we're gonna come up with all kinds of stuff," and he was like, "No, no, let's go right in."
we can't
And it
wait.
just
We gotta go.
yeah, and I mean it's just a difference in play style. I mean, but like our play styles is more. Let me think of a way I could do this with minimal risk. There's just a lot of risk that I'm not willing to assume by charging up into that hill fort.
Right. You know, you want to. I've always been a player where you want to make the odds in your favor. Right. This is what war is all about, right? And the individual battle level, like how do I gain the advantage? What do I got to do? I'm not going to run in blind. I'm not saying it's a bad play style, and if your DM is expecting that, I mean that was my old gaming group back in my 20s was pretty much that. You know,
Yeah,
tactics was what round? Every other round I get two attacks. All right. Well, if I'm going to change my target to a stronger target, it's when I get my two attacks.
well, there's kind of like a heroic fantasy versus like a gritty or fantasy
Yeah.
dichotomy there. You know, like if you're playing Shadow Dark and you run in like that, you're just gonna die.
Right.
You know, and there's like a dynamic in 5e where you have more forgiving uh mathematic, you know, so it's okay if I get surrounded, I can still do blah 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 blah. Whereas if you get overwhelmed in like earlier editions, you're hosed.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, that's just it. We are very much of the old school manner of gaming, and I believe Joe's brother
Well,
plays
I,
old.
I'm gonna push a little bit back on that. I think what we're used to as old school gamer, I would call it. Even though, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you're pretending to be an actor, mind you, but we tend to think of things in more in first person view because that's what you need to do when you don't when you do an old school gaming and you can't look at your character sheet, you can't
Right.
play the game, so you have to pretend that you're there as the character and figure out what you would do if you were there. You don't necessarily do funny voices or anything, you're just maybe playing a version of yourself, but you're still looking at the viewpoint that you're there as the character. And I guarantee you, it doesn't matter what how complex the rules you're using or what edition in D&D, if it's if GURPS versus D&D, even D&D 4e, if that's
Right.
the approach you take as a referee and you insist on your players describe then roll, you're gonna get that pretty much. But if you're gonna go roll then figure out what happened, then you're gonna be like playing a war game.
I guess. I mean, I don't even know at our table with Joe which way it goes. I think it's a little bit of both,
Well, I
depending on
think
the
there's
situation.
kind of a and this is not to cite him twice in one night, but the Alexander McCreese talks about what the purpose of roles are in Acts 2, and he says, like if you say I'm going to tell them this story that's going to make them think that I'm innocent, right? And then you say what you're going to say. When you roll the dice determines how they perceive what you said. So you might think you told this great story about how you were totally innocent, but they didn't buy it at
What the
all.
hell just fell? I'm still here. I just heard something.
Well, the role you do the role playing. My view is you do the role playing to get you got to state what your character's doing. And some, if you do a funny voice, you do a funny voice. But at some point, in order to do any of this, you have to describe what you're doing as if you were there, and then
Yeah, but should somebody get a better result because they're better at describing if I'm better at lying than somebody, should I get a better bonus when I lie as a character?
Well, it's not
That's
so much your
kind of the
better
question.
lie, but is the lie that you're telling a better lie for the situation? For example, let's just take combat. You know, a person will benefit if you flank an opponent. Okay, even if you don't have uh, explicit flanking rules that give you a game advantage, just having minis on the table and two guys attacking one opponent, that means that opponent's going to go down faster. That's a smart use. You're going to get a benefit automatically from there. So if you tell it, as far as social role playing go, if you give the speech that's on point, or you make the lie that's particularly apt for the situation, you may not.
Yeah, but
Then
is that
yes, you're going to
fair
get a
for
you should
your
get a bonus
character?
for that. But
Is it is it fair that your character who has a charisma 8 should get a bonus from you knowing the right thing to say? That's what I'm saying.
Mm.
oh
You know,
well, in that case, well that goes to why you roll in social role playing in the first place. You roll for the effect. Okay, let me. I had a stutterer years ago at the game store campaign, and he was a bit nervous, and he was a young kid in high school, and this was his first D&D campaign that he got to really play. And I said, look, and he was nervous about my game because I do a lot of first person role playing, and I told him, look, I care. At the end of the day, I care about what your plan is, what you're trying to say, rather than how you say it in real life. When I have your role, your charisma sucks, and you're likely, even if you're on point, it's not going to come off very well for your character. But if you have a good charisma, even if your stutter kicks in, don't worry about it. Your character's charisma counts on that role. So that's my answer, Greg. It's a bit of a it's not a clear not clear cut, but they both matter.
Well, listen, I'm gonna go back a number of years, Greg. I'm gonna give you a little glimpse of this is your life. Do you remember the D&D Next playtest that you ran?
oh gosh, yes, I know which example you're going to bring up now. Go ahead.
Okay, so Greg decided when we were doing the D&D Next playtest that he wanted to bring in old school gamers and 4E gamers and 3. He wanted a party, a group that if 5E was going to be the rule set that brought everybody together, let's see how it brings everybody together. And we had a situation where I guess you could call it a parlay. Um, and one of the players role played the parlay, and they role played it very well. And Greg was like, you know what? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They listened to you or whatever. And was it the 4E player or the 3E player that freaked out?
It was the 4E player.
I thought so. The 4E player was like, "Where's the dice? Where's the die roll?" And Greg's like, "There's no die roll needed. Every action has to be decided with the die roll." And Greg's like, "No, no, it doesn't. And it was I if we were playing at a physical table, there would have been dice thrown. It was that upsetting to the player in question, to the point that I think it wasn't too long after that we decided to move on from D&D Next. But
Yeah, I had players who want to role play ROLL rather than role play,
right,
and that's my my one in heart. You don't have to do funny voices in my campaign, although Greg, it does help a little. Uh, but
Well, Tucky
I
Golden
you
is
have to
very
do
happy to talk in
whatever, but you
character
have
from
to do
time to
things.
time.
You have to do things in first person. That and the reason I have a very practical reason for that. It's because players who play the game and treat their character as a piece on a board tend to do insane shit in the game. It's not everybody, but the odds go considerably higher. They would act like mad dogs, like loot a village, burn down a village just because they can. And then they whine about how why you punish me, Robin? Game when the entire duchy rises up against him and takes him down. You know,
I don't know that I see a connection there between me saying this is what my character does and me using a funny voice to, to do it with
stream of
murder.
consciousness, Greg. Stream of consciousness.
Yeah, but I I think that's an individual player's preference. I don't think it's a preference that you can instill at the table for everybody, because some people just don't feel comfortable with that. And I let, if I'm running a game, it's however you want to do first person. That's great. If you want to do third person and go, well, Tenkar takes his knife out, sneaks up behind his opponent, and if the player wants to say that way as opposed to I'm approaching from behind, well, I don't care how you do it. I really, to me, it doesn't matter as long as the player is comfortable, because I'm not conscious of it anyway. I don't fixate on what tense they're using if they're going first person or third. Or if they're describing a lot, or they just go, yeah, I want to roll to hit. It's like, well, all right, well, I know some DMs do prefer to go, well, how are you doing that? If it's worth a bonus to attack, I'll go into the description. But if it's not, as a player, I'm just like, I'm taking my swing.
Well, see, Bob brings up an interesting point. Like, there's a lot of times where I know what my character might want to get the other person to think, right? Especially charisma rolls. So, like, I want them to think that I wasn't involved in whatever, but I don't know exactly what I would say to make them think that. Maybe that's my personal charisma is not high enough or whatever. But
Right.
if Joe says, well, what do you say to them? I'm like, I just roll the die. Like, I don't know what I'm just going to act in a way that gives them the impression that blah, 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 and then I'll roll the die. Like, for me, there's a certain amount of stuff where it's like, if if I don't, if the character, not just me personally, but like, if the character and the player have different levels of ability or thought process differently or whatever, yeah, then I don't know that role playing should allow one to bypass the other, because I can't ever tell Joe exactly how I stab someone and have that have any effect whatsoever on the game. Joe's just gonna be like, well, roll the die.
Well, here's the
It,
thing: is I insist on first person role playing, but I'm not a dick about it. Okay, basically, what I'm the the the, the nitty gritty of it is I'm looking for what's your character's plan, and if you can't, like you said, if you feel if if you describe it in a way that kind of because you don't know actually what to say, but you know what you want to say, yeah, I'll accept that. As long as you make the attempt, that's fine. That works. And the thing is, what I do also is, I'll look in you in the eye and I'll just start talking to you, and I find most people just respond naturally.
You
You've done
know,
it. Which I've done it to your Viking character plenty of times. You'll interact with an NPCs, and we'll just start talking, and then the conversation
well,
just happens.
yeah, I'm not saying it's necessarily not useful. I mean, I just think that there's a limitation, and there's one of the reasons why I don't play story games at all is that I got to a point where I realized that the metagame ability to play the story game was differentially distributed between players. So I might be in a party of 4 people, but if I know how to phrase the things right and ask and bend the story points or however it works in the right way, then bam, I win. And the other player doesn't know how to do that, so they're getting frustrated by it. I think that's the thing is at some point, I do want it to come down to rolling dice. If you got a charisma of 8, it doesn't matter how well you tell somebody what to do. They're not going to do it. It's just the way it is.
Well, that's why, when you referee, I mean, I know not everybody has time or the opportunity to do this, but if you ever get a chance to learn how to be a coach, that's the ideal. Because a coach doesn't tell you what to do. A good coach doesn't tell you what to do. They teach you. They they guide you into what you're to do. It's hard to
Well,
explain,
yeah, but
but
I understand where you're going from, Rob. Because when I worked retail, I had a manager, Freya, and she was great. She was my first manager as an adult job position, and she pulled me aside after a couple of months and said, "Eric, I've learned something about you." I go, "What's that?" She goes, "That when I have a task I want you to accomplish, whether it's assembling furniture or taking care of something, I could work in electronics." She goes, I just need to tell you what it is and let you do it. If I spell out the task and give you every step," she goes, it doesn't work. You need to be able to do it on your own. And that's part of being a manager, it's part of being a supervisor, is to know that not every approach applies to every person. What worked for me, as she saw what worked toward me, wouldn't have worked with my friend Andrew that I worked with, because we're wired differently. So, you know, yeah, as a coach, that's great, but you also realize as a coach that each person you're coaching is different. And
yeah,
how
exactly. That's the hallmark of a good coach. My
right,
mom was an award-winning swimming coach, and that's one of the things she taught me how to coach. You got to tailor your approach to the kid.
right. And at the same time, with the gaming group, it's also you have to tailor your approach to the group dynamics. Because as a group, and I think our group is pretty darn special because we work so well together almost instinctually. And not just because we've been doing this for a year and a half, but because we've known each other for so many years that you kind of know what Rob's going to do. You kind of know what Eric's going to do. You kind of got an idea what Greg's going to do. And it allows us not to step on each other's other actions. Not perfect, but we instinctually kind of have an idea of how the others in the party are going to react. Now we have relatively new players in the group now too, which means it's going to be a learning curve for that. But we don't have to learn about each other. We're just learning about the newer players in the group. But it does change the dynamics. Having the new players is going to change the dynamics of our assumptions, because we know that, you know, one of Greg's priorities is how can I grow my family. You
That's an
know,
interesting way of putting it.
yeah. If I have an encounter and I haven't added at least one member to my menagerie, um, Greg's like, "What did I do wrong?" Uh, but that's great, but we're learning. We've already learned that about the core members of our group because we've been playing together for the last year and a half, and we got new members that have come in over the last couple of weeks, and we're going to adjust. And I feel bad for them because they're going to have to. They have more to learn than we do. We got to learn about two new players. They got to learn about like the four or five established already in the group that work as a well-oiled team. How do you come into that dynamic without being the cog in the wheel? And it's an interesting thing to be a part of, and I'm sure it's probably if you're Joe, if you're observing it, I'm sure there's a lot of entertainment watching all that play out.
Well, I think there's also like there's a tactical component to that, in that like if you know that I'm going to be using my charmed creatures as a bullet catchers, so to
Yep.
speak, then if I'm deploying them in a way and you do some kind of area of effect right in front of them, that's not going to go
Right.
very well. So you're going to be planning on different tactics than you might if the goal of everybody was to avoid the combat. But I often will deploy my guys forward to lock the enemy in place, and
Yep.
then we hit them with all kinds of different effects. I send them in, everybody gets engaged, then I drop a darkness on there, and nope, all the enemies are now disoriented in one location. It's a good synergy for you to know that.
Right.
Yeah, I don't have to tell you every time. Yeah,
So, what am I hearing?
I don't know what you're hearing.
I feel that
It's not me.
no. Rob, do you got a TV set going on in your background?
Oh yeah, hold on. Let me adjust something. There.
Rob's rewatching the Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Oh well, I would have been partial to the Flying Nun myself because I haven't seen that one in about 40 years.
I've been going through MASH. It's pretty good.
MASH holds up.
Yeah.
It really does. And the only thing that doesn't hold up is Loretta Swift's hairstyle, which was never accurate at any point for the time period of the show. But I understand that that was her one thing she would not concede on, is that she would not have that hairstyle.
I just finished up the Lord of the Rings again. I bought the I had the red leather one volume Lord of the Rings. It was starting to fall apart. A little disappointed in that, but I bought the illustrated edition, the one
Okay.
illustrated by Tolkien himself. I just finished it up.
Oh, so you're saying you actually read it?
Oh, I
That-
have.
Dude, I read it about 20 times at this point.
no,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that's different from. I thought you were saying watching it over again.
Oh, we did that too.
Yeah.
They did a re-release in the theater, and Kellyanne and I made a point of going to the theater and watching it, the extended versions, no less.
Oh my. Would require me to bring a urinal with me to my seat. I'd be like, oh, hold on a second, hon. Let me borrow that empty popcorn container you got there. But no,
I still wish I can grab a hold of one of those Dune popcorn thingies.
oh, listen, I used to have a full set, and they've all broken over the years. I can't. Maybe I have one hidden away. Remember the Lord of the Ring glasses? I think it was it Burger King or McDonald's? Probably Burger King. And they had the little lit bottoms that, like, you'd put a little button, battery in. It would light red or green or blue. I had a
Oh, I
full
forgot
set.
about those.
Yeah, I had a full set. I really like that. I promised myself when I retire, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to watch the Lord of the Rings extended versions on DVD. And I bought them all, and here I am, 8.5 years later, and I haven't watched it. And I think once I saw The Hobbit and was depressed from The Hobbit, I was like, I can't do it. But I tried.
The theoretic, I thought the theatrical version of Fellowship was better,
Uh,
uh, marginally better, but still better. But the extended version totally works with the Two Towers and Return of the King.
okay, I'm gonna have to watch them. But once when Rachel and I were dating, and once shortly after we got married, I tried to get her to watch The Fellowship of the Ring, and she never made it out of Hobbiton.
Wow.
She was sound asleep both times. I was like, wow, this is. And we joke about it now, but I'm gonna have to, now that she's been a gamer and gamed at conventions for the last like 10 years, maybe she'll be a bit more apt to watch it. Maybe after binging Game of Thrones for all these years, she'll be able to.
Well, hell, she watched Game of Thrones, including the final season. She can.
Oh,
She
final.
can.
Yeah, if you can handle the final season, that's kind of like, from my understanding, like if you can watch the second Joker movie and not walk out of the theater, you can
I
handle
refuse
anything.
to watch the second Joker movie.
Yeah, I refuse to too. The
I didn't
first
see
one,
the first one either. I don't know. I don't see the point of the Joker movies, but I heard the first one was good.
the first one was really, really good. It really kept you on the edge of your seat. And if you're a New Yorker, you can go, "Oh, I know where that is. I know that staircase. Holy crap! I walked it." But yeah, I've heard such trash about the second Joker movie. I can't do it.
Yeah, I would mind. I have to give that a try. Reading the or listening to the N.A. Circus audiobook of Lord of the Rings. That's got to
Well,
be awesome.
I've listened to the British audio play for Lord of the Rings. I actually owned the Hobbit one on tape. I think that is probably disintegrated by now. But I do know that the archives are up on the internet, and I do believe I bookmarked them at one point because the radio plays were spot on. Oh my god, they were really
Oh,
really
that's right. The BBC had the radio plays.
yeah.
There needs to be a term for like a property that you. It's not because it's not jumping the shark, but
Uh,
it's gotten to a point like the Game of Thrones in the later seasons, or like like Dexter. I really loved like the first 3 or 4 seasons of Dexter, and then it just like it, where you're
There's
just like,
already a term, Greg.
what are they
Well,
doing?
it's called phoning it in.
Yeah, but that's I can't say I've reached a point where Dexter is phoning it in to me. It needs to be like where I've just lost my desire, like it because I mean, Rob, you stick through a lot of stuff that I would never
I didn't make
watch.
it all through Smallville. By season 8, I was pooped out.
But I mean, you're still watching Disney Star Wars. I mean, I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
I just canceled my Disney sub. So end of the month it won't renew because they doubled the price for the Disney Plus. Disney Plus Premium doubled. I'm like,
I thought the Acolyte was interesting, and then it didn't go anywhere. Literally, didn't go anywhere.
uh, I
So
can't just I don't watch too much of the Marvel stuff anymore because it hasn't been all that good, and I can't justify doubling the price of a streaming service that I hardly watch in the first place. So I was like, if I ever want to go back, I'll grab it for a month, I'll binge it, and then I'll cancel again. But I can't. I gotta. You
I
gotta.
enjoyed Agatha all along. That
Uh,
was the
never heard of the character, so I was like, I'm not interested.
it's the concept, the Witches Road concept. I thought that was very D&Dable.
Okay.
D&Dable.
Yeah, it was like something that you could insert in something weird in
Oh,
your D&D.
I figured out what you meant almost immediately. I just thought it was an interesting turn of phrase.
Yeah.
Sure, like Robin of Sherwood back in the '80s. That's very D&Dable.
See,
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that one. Robin or Sherwood.
Dude, no, that's like that and Excalibur are like one of the.
Excalibur, yes. Robin or Sherwood, I don't recall.
Yeah, Robin of Sherwood. Okay, Excalibur is the King Arthur. Robin of Sherwood is the Robin Hood. It's by far the best.
What you didn't like the Kevin Costner one where he had a New York accent? I mean, come on. I thought that was awesome.
I actually like that one, but whatever.
The lack of Kevin Costner has only one accent. It doesn't matter whether he's playing out in the Midwest or he's playing in an urban environment or he's supposed to be a Brit. It's the same damn accent. I guess that's when you have to admit you can't do accents.
Hey, I mean, Sean Connery was a Scottish Russian. I mean, it happens.
He spoke Russian in that movie for what, like 1 minute, and then mid sentence it switches over to the Scottish brogue.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
That was good. I thought that was great. I it was one of my favorite movies, Hunt for Red October. And there you are, and it's like, wow, Sean Connery speaking Russian. He must really holy. And then right in the middle of a sentence, it's like, wait, he's speaking English with a Scottish accent. Oh, all right. I guess that's how you accept it. All right, I'll buy it.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Here,
like,
I'm going to share. Yeah, this is the Robin of Sherwood. Will Scarlet, Little John, Maid Marian, Robin Hood, Friar Tuck. The I forgot. I don't forgot. But the guy uh, kneeling, the older guy kneeling is one of the village headsmen that's allied with Robin. He's like a reoccurring actor, and then the other one is Much to Miller's son. But yeah, this series is a classic. And speaking of Sean Connery, the Robin Hood actor um, quit after the second season, or left after the second season, so they decided to incorporate the other, because he was Robin of Locksley, and there's also the legend of Robert Huntington, a dispossessed noble, and they worked in Jason Connery, Sean Connery's son, as
Oh,
that Robin Hood. And that season was pretty good, especially the episodes, the two episodes that end at the time of the wolf. There's
yeah.
definitely very many D&Dable moments in that series.
See, I don't remember that series. Maybe I guess obviously it wasn't on network TV. It must have been in syndication.
It was on Showtime,
Oh, that's why I don't know it. I didn't have Showtime.
but
I
it's
had
on. I think it's on Amazon Prime, or not Prime, but Amazon.
I had illegal HBO with a microwave antenna on the roof until HBO security.
I believe, sir, what you just meant to say was you're exercising your Fifth Amendment right.
Yes, to own the airwaves. No, I get back from buying bagels at the local bakery one Saturday morning, and there's this big guy on my stoop with a button, not a badge, a button that has HBO security.
Oh my God, it's on Prime now. No, it's on. If you have a Prime subscription, you can watch it for free.
Okay, and I'm like, "Can I help you?" He's like, "Do you have a microwave antenna?" I go, "I don't know. Do I?" 'Cause I'm not answering any direct questions. I go, do you own this house?" I went, "No, I do not own this house. My parents did." "Well, who owns this house?" "The owners." Um, I was being a dick, but I knew enough that I could be a dick, and he handed me paperwork, and sure enough, it what they were flying helicopters over parts of New York City to see who had microwave antennas to grab HBO without paying the fee because it was over the air. So I'm not saying that we took it down off the roof into the attic, into the window. Hey, I had to see my fights, man. Listen, I was addicted to Tyson back then, and Fraggle Rock. Fraggle Rock is pretty cool. So you needed your vices, and those were my vices: Fraggle Rock and the Tyson fights. So that's what it was.
Who am I to stand between a man and his Fraggle Rock?
Fraggle, yeah, that
Oh,
was
Flint
fun.
Fireford said that Robin of Sherwood is on YouTube.
YouTube. Oh, are there no other uses for microwave antennas? I don't know. I don't think you can. I don't think you can heat your food up with them. And for all I know, it might still be up in the attic. But there's nothing coming over the airwaves anymore. So you know, that was an interesting time. And I still remember as a little kid. Oh my God, what was? Well, I think Animal House was my first R-rated movie. I saw with my father, and that's a hell of a way to bond and say, "This is what college life is going to be." Holy shit!
My first R-rated movie was Passenger 57.
Oh, nice.
Yes, that's how much younger than you I
Yeah.
am.
Actually, my first R-rated movie altogether, which was at my cousin's house on a holiday, was Kentucky Fried Movie.
Hmm.
And when
Okay.
and when that's your first R-rated, what it wasn't Charles Bronson or anything like that. It was a movie with lots of boobs and lots of bad jokes. So yes, it was a Kentucky Fried Movie. I think I've seen it
Back
once.
back to gaming a bit. There's a so Ars Magica now all it's now been released as under Creative Commons share alike, not
But that,
just
but which edition? All right, it's not the latest edition, is it?
yeah the entire product line,
Okay.
all the books, all uh, but all the books, the Tribunal books, the adventures, even the map. Some of the map and some of the art has been released under Creative Commons.
Okay, well, that's pretty big. I mean, I know that. Now, Rob, you know just about every game system, so I'm not. It isn't. It's a compliment. Seventh Sea.
Yeah, what about it? Which
Yeah.
edition, first or second?
The Chaosium edition, which is I'm assuming second.
Yeah, I don't know that as well. I know about the setting, but I don't. I played a little bit of the first edition, but why?
All right.
What about it?
I'm putting a link up on the screen real quick for Humble Bundle. It is up on Humble Bundle. For $1, you can get the core rules and the quick start. I know $15 gets you a shit ton more, but I'm gonna spend my buck and grab the core rules and the quick start because I figure if I like what I see for $1, I can go back and get the full cake for $15 after having my slice. I'm not gonna feel like I lost anything. But I don't want to spend $15 and go. I'll never ever ever read this, let alone use it. But for $1, I'm willing to.
We all have that folder that's just packed full of
Oh my
stuff
folder!
will never run. Yeah.
I've got print games surrounding
Oh man.
that I'll never run. Hey,
I
I
guess
got
you're more imprudent than me.
Well,
yeah.
I speaking of Home to Bundle, I did went over there to look at your link, and then I noticed Corel Draw has a humble bundle. You can get Corel Draw Standard 2024 for $30. So if you want the software that I use to draw my maps, that's the software.
There you go. And there's no yearly fee, no re up on that one. They're not a subscription. The Humble
Another
Bundle.
another way to get Rob's maps is to just ask if it's possible to map a particular thing and then wait.
And
And Rob will have created a map.
then you can go, thank you, Rob.
Well, I have my limits. I mean,
Eh.
I still haven't figured out how Anna Meyer makes her gray. Well, I kind of know what Anna Meyer does to make her Greyhawk map, but it's just like I just don't have enough hobby time. I'm too busy. Well, I'm too busy.
Uh-oh. This isn't a reach around. This is a get up and grab. All right. It's going to be
Too
full
busy
on.
making this. So, and everybody's yelling at me to get done with this. Oh, this is the one of the cities that will be included.
All right. So what is this, Rob? For
Uh,
the uninitiated.
okay, so this is the four maps that are going to comprise into the Majestic Fantasy Realm. I printed it at one half the scale. So on drive through, you can order posters that are 12 inches by 18 inches.
Okay.
So there's going to be the Great Glacier, the Wild North, Black Marsh, expanded Black Marsh basically, and uh, brand new to this one is Northport. And then I'm going to have 10 cities but with one page. To be fair, they're going to have one-page descriptions, okay, highlighting the important buildings and the map of the city. But have 10 cities, and this is the map of Northport. Still working on the others. And this one's not finished too. I gotta flesh out this area. And this is my binder that I take notes on and stuff.
Okay. So I think
Kind of a
Fugu
nice.
wants to know if the software you were looking at is for Mac, or is it only for Windows? Or
It's a Windows program.
sorry there, Fug.
Sorry, if he's a Mac guy, Adobe's pretty much your only choice as far as that kind of software goes.
Right. No, I got you.
I mean, they make map makers. I think they make map makers for Mac. I'm not familiar with them, but I know some of Mac. There are native Mac programs for that. But no, Fantasy Grounds, not Fantasy Grounds. Campaign Cartographers, Windows, uh, and Corel Draw is Windows as well.
Yeah, and Campaign Cartographer comes up on Humble Bundle about twice a year. That's been my experience. It comes up fairly often, usually around the holidays, and usually around at the end of the school year. I guess they figure this is when people are going to be buying it. Flint, I've been super choosy lately on what physical RPG books I buy. I'd rather buy stuff from people I know these days. I can relate to that. There's certainly something to that. Problem is, I know way too many people. So
You need to dump some people.
no. Come on. I think the maximum number of Facebook friends you can have is 5,000. I think I'm only around 3,500. So I got plenty
That's
of.
a lot of Facebook friends.
It is, but it's because I'm a content creator of this shit. All right, so people follow to get their announcements and stuff. Uh, so that's a lot of times why I do the unfollow, just for it isn't I announced this months ago. It's not personal, folks. If you're on Facebook and I unfollowed you, first off, you'll never know, which is great. But it's nothing personal. It's about my own sanity, and then sometimes I wonder just how much sanity I have. Well, there are times you just got to make sure you retain it.
And, at the risk of Rob telling me I'm doing something I'm not doing, I also like the politics stuff. People post like 4 or 5 times a day with some
Yeah.
politics stuff, and I'm like, I just don't want to see it. It's even when I agree with you, I don't
Right,
want to see it.
that's me too.
Yeah,
That's me too. That's why I unfollow those people, left, right, center. If all you're doing is filling my feed with crappy noise, it's not it's nothing personal. I don't have a stake in what you feel, but I just don't need it to disrupt my day and my flow. I want to see cat pictures. Well, maybe not, but I see a lot of cat pictures. And for some reason, a lot of baseball stuff comes up in my feed. But I want to have conversations about gaming. And I think that is really what people. If you're following me, you're not following me to hear my punditry on politics, or Greg, or Rob, or Tim, or Joe. Although Joe's is probably going to be pretty interesting, depending on how much marijuana he's had for the night. He can get pretty insightful. But
I think at the risk of commenting on people's decisions, I think you shouldn't be spending your whole day looking at this stuff, no matter who you are. Like, do something else. Like, I'm using social media for more than just that. Why is that like eclipsing people's lives? Like, does it spend time doing your hobby?
right, get out there,
Yeah.
game. Listen, like I made a point today. It's like, Rach, listen, it's a beautiful day. Let's get out. And the day was slipping by. We had a lot of chores to do around the house. We had to change the the water pump on our indoor garden home, home garden. The pump died, and the great thing about this intelligent device, it's like I detected a problem with your water pump. I have ordered a new water pump, which is covered under warranty. It'll arrive in 4 to 7 days. I didn't have to reach out to the manufacturer. I didn't have to do shit except replace it when I got here, which was pretty much idiot proof. So we did that, and now it's back up and running, and it's like new. So, but that took up a good portion of the day because when you're taking like 30 plants off this thing, it takes time. But I was like, we got to get out. The days wasting away. The dog needs a good walk, and we need sunlight. And apparently, according to my last blood test, I'm low in vitamin D. I got vitamin D deficiency. So
Everybody does, man.
yeah, it's like that makes me more susceptible to things like COVID. Apparently, so I'd like to get my vitamin D levels back up and get out there in the sun, especially when we have a beautiful day. Today was like mid 60s here in New York in November. What is we're having a nice little warm streak. Our summer wasn't as hot as we've had some hot summers, but this fall has been fairly mild and rain free too. So that's a good thing. But oy vey. Now I hear my wife singing on the other side of the room, on the other side of the house. So
Wow.
God knows what she's singing. She's in a good mood though, so that makes me happy. Because a happy wife is a happy life. What else? Greg, you have any new releases coming up, by the way?
I do. I've been I got a kind of surprise move all of a sudden, and so I haven't been able to get a lot of things done that I wanted to, and I've been going through some personal stuff that makes me less likely to want to write,
Ah,
But I have been turning the corner on that. I've been getting things back. There's a point you reach where you're no longer actively making new things as much as you're editing,
right.
and you're like, oh, I have to come up with a paragraph to fit in this spot right here, and it has to, like, it can't just be whatever I want. It needs to conform to these other things that I've already made. It starts to get to where it's just grindy, and
Okay.
yeah, but that's where I am. But I mean, hey, I'm working on it. Um, I I do a lot of mapping, as we were talking earlier, when I'm kind of in a discombobulated mental thing. I mean, I can't focus on writing,
Right.
so I work on mapping. And I took a map that I'd made a long time ago, and I've been updating it, adding to it for an Adventure Conquer King 2 setup.
Okay.
And I was trying here to get an export so I could screen share it, but let me do that here. It's big, so it just takes a long time to save out of being a Photoshop file into being a JPEG.
Right.
Dum, dum, dum. Almost there. Okay, so the title here in Latin is Barbarian King. Adventure Conquer King.
Right.
Barbarian King. Yep. So this is a map that I've been updating. So that you can't use Macrease's setting stuff without being his permission and everything. So I'm just having an empire and then just running it with what's in Adventure Conquer King. So there's an imperial kind of territory here. You can see it's divided up into tribunes on the eastern edge, and then I've been filling in all sorts of stuff in the main thing. So there's a bunch of barbarian kind of little kingdoms on this map, and you can take over one for the empire or for yourself.
Okay.
You know, you can kill all kinds of people and beasts and things that stand in your way and do whatever you want on this border. So that's what I've just been working on. That it has a similar kind of textured style that Rob was talking about. It's very difficult to pull off,
Okay.
and it requires a lot of CPU processing compared to vector drawings.
Interesting.
Oh yeah. If you don't have a lot of memory, trying to do a big image file at full print scale can crush a computer.
Yep, this is just designed for, and that's because I made it this way in 2013 when I actually rendered
Oh,
this map.
damn.
It in 2013 it was portrait and kind of like a Scotland, and I've turned it on its side, but it's 8.5 by 11. So I figured if it's 300 DPI, if I printed on one of the drive-through cards, that would be like the card stock.
Right.
It would look pretty good. So it would come out looking like a photograph level quality at 300 DPI. So
Damn.
So
that's what I've been doodling on.
yeah, I've been. Let me see. Where is it? There. All right, entire screen. Yep, that one. So I already showed this, but if you look at this particular area, the Ring Islands, I needed, in order to
Right.
write about them, I needed kind of to flesh them out, and I couldn't help but map them. So this is my expanded local view map. Each of the big hexes are a 5-mile hex, and those familiar with Judges Guild will recognize the smaller hexes are 0.2-mile hexes. So I'm sketching them out to get a sense of the detail. And this is a 12.
Very
In
nice.
theory, I can offer these on drive-through RPG, and I probably will, because in order to make a package of posters cost-effective with the shipping, you should offer about 10 sheets of poster. And here's the western half, which I haven't fully drawn in yet. But yeah, it's fun drawing these, drawing the big maps and then zooming in on the expanded view. Also, this is what see if I have it here. There it is. This is another one of my cities. Probably shown this before, but this is one of the cities in the wild north called Orenburg. And one thing, I'm basing some of this off of Russian myth, so I'm looking at Russian medieval architecture. And the reason why you don't see the black walls like you do, say, for Northport here, because these are stone walls, but they mostly built out of wood in Russia. And this area is the Kremlin, which is not, the Kremlin is both a specific place, in Moscow, but it's also a specific type area of building. Basically, it's an array of fortified building that's kind of like a castle, but it's a little different. It's more like I have here. It's like instead of just walls, you have an outer perimeter that's also building that could be defended from the outside as well as the inside. So I have a bunch of these maps. Some of them I haven't finished drawing, haven't started drawing yet, which is to be the thing after. So, but I have sketches of the map. So
You know, I love maps. I can't map for shit. So yeah, I got the two of you guys on, and it's like the two guys that like map for I don't know brain piece. It's like oh, my brain feels better after I do mapping. I was like I can't map. I can't do this shit.
no, I
To
found a
me,
good use. I'm sorry, go on, Greg.
I was just, like, for me, it's like writing in a different way. Like it's the same. Like it's like, wouldn't it be cool if this place was upriver from this place and this was this way, and like
Okay,
you're kind of you're building the thing like which of these valleys is where this particular kingdom is,
right.
which of these places and with the way I do it, there's kind of the map discovering itself for you, like, oh, okay, like the render decided that was going to be a little hill, so I'm gonna name the hill. It's kind of creating it randomly with me as I go. So there's that kind of I'm discovering the map in a sense.
That's pretty cool.
So since we're being a little technical here, I want to show a good use for ChatGTP.
Oh,
Um, First again, folks, don't let it write your stories for you. It's a piece of shit in that regard. But this is the, I bought a copy of the DMG a while ago on
drive through.
drive through, and there's a lot of neat random tables here, and there's a lot of neat uh, dice rolling program like Inspiration Pad Pro, the one that Matt Finch released. But the thing is, we have these dice rolling programs, but there's such a, you have to, in order to get these tables that we know and love, we have to type them out by hand. Well, it turns out that one of the things we can, oops, oh, okay, hold on one second. One of the things we can do is please scan this image of a random of two random tables and print out a text table I can download. So we'll sit here and think. And you should notice I got two distinct tables there.
All right. Wow. Oh, there it goes. I think.
So now I'm downloading it and open up in Excel. And it's probably going to need to do a little bit of cleanup, but
All right, that's actually pretty cool. It's
yeah,
a lot quicker than typing it yourself.
right. And then, so I like to use, random tables, for ideas. because when you got 100 entries to write to define an area like I am,
Uh-huh.
I use Matt Finch's uh, oops, the wrong one. I use Matt Finch's book. I use the DMG. I'll use Judges Guild table, and I'll just turn it into a word salad and see what it gets inspired by it. And I wanted the AD&D outdoor uh, random table, so I had ChatGTP scan them all, and it just took me 2 hours of work one weekend afternoon, and I had the complete set of AD&D random monster table. So, oops, I have a bug there. Huh, gotta fix that. But here, I so I just roll and see, hmm,
This is how I've been programming my Rob AI to write all my Rob books.
Oh, nice.
Look forward to them on drive through, everybody.
nice.
Yes, fun.
So anyway, that's just a one use for ChatGPT that I found.
Yeah, I have an upcoming release, How to Box Your Fantasy Sand, and it's
You're
gonna be
bad, Greg.
awesome.
You're bad.
It's gonna be awesome sand, man.
Oh my god. Well, I think on and it is a good. It's a practical use for Chat GPT, which I gotta say most people use it for. And I'm sure it's before you know it, it's going to be all like, what do you use AI for? Oh, what else? AI porn. That way the government can't find it. But that is, I didn't know you could do spreadsheets with it, and actually didn't know you could scan in. I did know you could ask it to interpret a map. Like if you took a dungeon map from the one page dungeon and you wanted it to quickly stat it out, you could ask it to stat out a dungeon. It doesn't do it well, but if you're a DM short on time and you've got nothing ready, you can actually get a map from the one page dungeon, have AI ChatGPT stock it, go in, fix things for 20 minutes, and you're ready for your home game. I would not say sell this on the internet because it's gonna suck, but maybe your people won't
It,
laugh.
it's
It
also
sucks because
if
it's
you use
bland.
that if you use any of this stuff in making it now, you're gonna have to be tagging your product as having
Yeah.
been AI assisted. Also,
So it's getting they're drawing lines in the sand. We're gonna have to do an episode when we have more of us on to talk about AI. Maybe grab a guest or two that is involved in some of these processes because it's getting interesting. Because where AI is now and where AI will be a year from now, it's going to be night and day. And I'll never,
In some respects,
yeah,
the
and
the real killer app I think will come when, as I showed, when I dumped it the table image and it produced a usable spreadsheet out of it.
uh,
So if you take that capability, yeah, make creating stories is nice, but if you take that capability, not just OCR, but its general ability to recognize pattern and marry it to something that's more procedural, like a database that knows the rules for your RPG, then I think you're going to have something that's going to be get a lot of people excited and usable. Uh, because right now, just relying on the chat TP, it lies to you. It's like having a friend
oh
who
yeah,
lies to you every other paragraph.
it's
I
like
mean,
if I
you may
can't
like
find
him,
the
but
info, I'll make it up. Don't worry, I'm a pathological.
yeah,
By the way, Fugly has an interesting observation. Amazon asks about AI, but doesn't tell the buyers.
huh?
So I guess if you're uploading a product on Amazon for, I'm guessing for Kindle and stuff, it asks about was AI used in the process, but it doesn't indicate it to the actual, purchaser. So, makes you
Oh, by
wonder.
the way, speaking of, I noticed Flint, but and earlier he said his book is on the way. So yeah, it's next maybe for the next tavern chat. Let me know how you like it.
Yep. Yeah, Greg. I think we are hitting the witching hour. By the way, I
Yep.
am exhausted from the last two very intensive live streams that I was part of. So I thank you all for joining us tonight. Next live stream is tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Myself, my wife Rach, and then I have a couple of days off from the live stream. There's another live stream coming up in 2025 that I can't announce just yet, but it's going to be a once a month live stream, and I'm going to have two co-hosts, and it should be really interesting. And I'm dying to announce it, but not yet. I'm not allowed. I'm not allowed. All right, folks. On that note, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. Manana, 8 p.m. Rob, what's your next release?
Uh, my next release is into the Majestic Fantasy Realms, and like I said, I'm on. Every map has 4 sections. There's 4 maps, and I'm on the last section of the last map, and I just gotta do some illustrations, some maps, and
There you go.
so hopefully by Christmas or by the January, I'll have my Kickstarter up and running.
Um, Greg is juggling multiple plates right now.
I have a Shattered Arc campaign setting that's about to come out.
Oh, well,
I just have to finish up those last holes.
well,
It's
there you go.
it's gonna have a new solo play component, which I've never published, kind of oriented towards that before, where when you go into a hex, there's certain things you get to read automatically, and then you have to make checks in order to read other things, and there's
And
encounters that happen if you fail some rolls. So I'm trying to put the solo stuff in at the design level, and all of it from if you're not doing the solo play, then it's just things are listed in a particular order, and you can just roll them out however you want as the GM. So
is this
uh,
your love letter to Matt Jackson?
no, it's not. No, it has nothing to do with Matt Jackson whatsoever.
Speaking of solo play, if those of you who
Oh
want
yeah,
GURPS to
Doug Cole.
try but can't get a game, Douglas Cole of Gaming Ballistic has just got the print copies of his Warlock Knight out, which is a solo adventure
Yeah, it's good
for
stuff.
GURPS.
Well, Doug only puts out good stuff. I'm sure we'll have him back
Oh,
on as a guest in the next year. All right, folks. Be safe.